Hi everyone and welcome to Bear Clooney Watches channel. Today, slightly different video. You see in our Facebook group, Horology Talk, there was a little debate resulting from the question that one of the members posted asking what should be the first luxury timepiece that he should buy. And I thought this is such a complex and important question. Obviously, the answers were variety of the opinions, variety of suggestions, and I kind of wanted to share my philosophy and my advice to those in our hobby who make that first step in purchasing a first luxury timepiece. You see, buying a luxury timepiece is not a small task. Basically, the entry-level luxury timepiece starts at approximately $3,500–4,000, and it is a big expense for any of us. So, how do we not make a mistake? Most common advice we get from those who think they are giving us a good sounded advice is make sure you buy what you like. It's not bad advice, but I believe it is just a one segment of what we should do. It's a small component of what ultimately leads to decision on what timepiece we should buy. Of course, you need to like it. You need to try it on, you need to actually see how it makes you feel. So giving advice on buy what you like is positive and right, but it can also be very dangerous. Because what if we don't know enough? And what if we are making decisions based only on our momentum, on our temporary initial aesthetic appeal? Is it going to lead us maybe into a fashion watch? Is it going to lead us into a watch that later, if we don't like, is going to be a very costly mistake that we made? Is it going to be leading us maybe into a field of vintage watches, which, if we are newbies, can be very dangerous? I mean, let's just talk about Franken watches. Let's talk about redials. Let's talk about all those mines in a minefield which can result in a very negative experience after all and expensive mistake. So what advice would Bear Clooney give to someone who is making that important decision in buying a first luxury timepiece? Well, ultimately, you need to do a research. I would advise that your research is based on the brands that are established, the brands that actually have a history and heritage, and then I would recommend to look at the iconic pieces from those brands. They're iconic for the reason. There is definitely reason what makes them stand out from the rest in that brand. I would also recommend not to forget the resale value or value retention, especially if that's your first timepiece. Ultimately, if you later do not like that watch or if you want to upgrade, it will be much easier if your decision was financially sound in the aspect of purchasing a watch that retains value better. Remember, watches are not investment, but you need to purchase smart. You need to understand their value and you need to buy it at the right price position. The next obviously comes this liking of the watch. Aesthetics are important. Watches are ultimately a man's jewelry, and they will be on your wrist, and they need to be appealing to your taste. But follow these steps. Learn about the brand. Learn about the watches from that brand and what are the most iconic pieces. Find out what is the value retention on those pieces. Use various online things such as Chrono24, eBay, forums to find out more about the value. Use online opportunities to learn about history about that watch. Learn about the service component and service cost associated with that watch. Remember that more complications sometimes might result in higher service costs. All that needs to be taken into consideration if you want to make a right decision. And I think it is important. It is important to carefully take step by step before you pull the trigger. Later on, when you become more seasoned and you ultimately have more experience with watch collecting, you understand what type of collector you really are, what appeals to you, you better understand the brands, and you better understand what brands are all about, you will be making these decisions on a run. But for you, new in this hobby, and for you who are making this decision for the first time, take your time, ask questions, do research. One of the comments I read and I personally wanted to advise against are micro brands. Even though they can be a lot of fun and ultimately they should be encouraged for the sake of our hobby and horology industry, I don't think that micro brand is the answer for your first luxury timepiece. Stay away from micro brands while you learn more about this hobby, this watch world, the horology itself, and then ultimately, if later on you find a micro brand that appeals to you for whatever reason, of course, explore. Again, my advice when it comes to micro brands would not be to pile up on it. Don't get too much into anything really of that nature and then have 3 or 4 timepieces from a micro brand. I can understand appreciation and love, but I certainly don't see that as a financially smart move. But then heart wants what heart wants. I am here not to give you a blueprint on what and how you should do this. I'm here to just give you a personal advice as someone who enjoys watches, collects watches, as someone who is not financially wealthy to a point that doesn't care about the value. And I think it could help some of you. And if I achieve that, I will be happy. Now, at the end, the wristwatch check. Here is Rolex Explorer. A great opportunity for someone who's looking for a first-time luxury piece. It has everything that first-time luxury piece should have. It has a great history and heritage. It's a high-quality timepiece. It's a timepiece that speaks volumes. The service cost is reasonable. It comes from a highly reputable brand. And ultimately, I would always recommend this as a great first-time luxury piece. Some of you have asked me to do a comparison between the two watches that I have, between the Rolex Explorer and Rolex Wide Dial OP 39 millimeters. And again, frankly, these are two fantastic opportunities as a first-time luxury timepiece. They are very different, yet very similar. I think these two actually kind of complement each other in some ways. And if you ask me which one would I recommend, that's a nonsense. I wouldn't have both of them if I prefer one over the other. They both have a great heritage, they both have a exceptional quality, they're both aesthetically pleasing, and I think they beautifully complement each other. So, frankly, to all of you who are asking me to compare them, I don't know what you really want. I don't understand. It comes down to your taste, it comes down to what appeals to you more. They're both great pieces, and you will not make a mistake with either one. So that would be my little advice video for today. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you coming to this channel, and hopefully this video will help someone in that such an important decision making. Now at the end, please subscribe. Join me on this journey of searching for a perfect timepiece. Join me in my horology group on Facebook, which is called Horology Talk, and let's have a lot of fun in this hobby together. All the best to all of you from Bear Clooney. Take care.